lot of items on the agenda. Obviously, we will be discussing RTE. Minister Catherine Martin is going to update the Cabinet on where things stand. As you know, there'll be hearings in the Oireachtas committees tomorrow and the next day, so that will be a chance for questions to be asked and answered. But from the government's point of view, there's really three things that we're working on. One is a further report from Grant Thornton just into the earlier payments, and also to give us the assurance that other top 10 earners haven't been receiving indirect payments. Although we're confident that's the case, we want to get assurance of that. There'll also be a set of questions we'll be asking the chairman and board that we think need to be answered, and then there's the governance and culture review, really looking at how RTE works, how the board interacts with the executive board, whether the code of conduct for semi-state bodies is followed. That'll take a bit of time, but Minister Martin has some draft terms of reference. Probably won't sign off on those today, but will later in the week. So that's kind of where we stand on that. Just in other news, was very pleased to wake up to the news this morning that mortgage approvals for first-time buyers are now at their highest since 2011. So every week in the month of May, over 700 first-time buyers, individuals and couples, getting their mortgage or getting mortgage approval, and that's really encouraging because I really believe in home ownership. And it's not happening by accident. It is happening because supply is increasing. Government is reducing the cost of building new homes by waiving the development levies, and then also the programs that we have in place, like Help to Buy to help you get a deposit, First Home to help bridge the gap between the mortgage you get and the house you want to buy, local authority home loans for people who can't get a decent mortgage from the bank, grants to renovate old buildings. So lots of government actions to help people become homeowners, and we're really starting to see the results now. Frustrating it took so long, but no doubt now that we're seeing more and more people buying their first home than we've seen really since the Celtic Tiger period now, a very long time.
Taoiseach, can I ask, you're saying the draft references or draft terms of reference at this stage, but what will the focus of those terms of reference be, and who will oversee this external review?
Yeah, so it'll be overseen by Minister Martin and her department, but it will be an external independent person or company that will do the actual work, and it will take a few months to get it done. Generally to get these things done properly, to interview people, to gather evidence, all the rest of it, to allow people to see the report before it's published. That does take time, we need to be honest about that. But it'll focus on two things: governance and culture. How is the organisation run? What's the relationship between the executive board and the board itself, and whether that's appropriate. And then it'll also look at issues around culture within the organisation. But I do want to say, and I said it yesterday, RTE is a very big organisation, a huge number of people working there, very professional people. Most of them knew nothing about this, had no involvement in this, and we shouldn't forget that. And also we shouldn't underestimate the value of public service broadcasting. Whatever happens as a consequence of this, and RTE will be damaged reputationally, we need to make sure we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And a small country like ours in particular, and particularly at a time when democracy is under threat in the world, needs to have a strong public service media, both in terms of RTE and then also beyond RTE as well.
On the point of who knew what, with the comprehensive statement that RTE is due to issue today in terms of the years from 2020 to 2022, if there are named individuals in that report about maybe who was aware of the various payments, do you think that those people should be considering their position?
You know, I think it's too soon to say that. I think we need to find out all the facts, what happened, who signed off on what, who was aware of it at different points in time. In any organisation there is a hierarchy, and I don't necessarily think that a relatively junior person or a middle-ranking person should take responsibility for a decision that they actually made. But to be honest, we need to know the facts. There's no suggestion that anything illegal happened here, but it could have reached accounting standards or ethical standards. But I'm always of the view that people should be afforded the presumption of innocence until we know the facts, and I don't think we should be jumping to conclusions or making any findings against any individual until we actually do know the full truth.
Can trust be restored unless, I suppose, that management come forward and disclose all of the information?
Yeah, I think trust can be restored in RTE as an organisation. I think it can only be restored if we have full transparency and full accountability, that people know, we all know what the facts are, and who made what decisions, when and why. And that's crucially what it's all about. And again, a very important institution. Every independent state, particularly a small state, needs to have a public service broadcaster. There's a lot of really good work in drama and children's programming, in news content. And I just think we need to make sure that we don't lose sight of that as well.
I think it's very important because we're conscious a lot of people are working at RTE who are very upset and worried and anxious about all of this, and we have to think of the broader workforce within RTE and their sense of morale. So I think the most effective way to deal with this is through clarity and transparency and a comprehensive presentation to the Oireachtas Committee today. Because as I have said, in terms of our democracy, I've always been very committed to the concept of the public service media and public service broadcasting. I think RTE has played a significant role of that since its foundation. But clearly there are issues here that highlight a broader issue around governance. And these are issues that do have to be addressed, and the Minister is working on that.
Will the review be operated under the premise there could be others?
The Minister will be announcing all of that. First of all, speak to the Cabinet and then outline and clarify her intentions both over the interim period and the medium term.
RTE issued to Tanaiste issue a statement today, a comprehensive statement that described it in terms of the payments from 2020 to 2022. If there's individuals named in that report in terms of having knowledge or involvement in agreeing those deals, do you think that those people should be considering their positions like the former Director General has done?
I think we have to take it one step at a time, to be fair. And the most important point is that all of the information is out there, and then people can make judgments and make assessments. And at that stage, that's the sensible and fair thing to do.